In the stillness of a suburban evening, the glow of streetlights cast long, thin shadows along quiet sidewalks. Every house in the neighborhood seemed to hum with an air of everyday normalcy, a gentle symphony of laughter, receding footsteps, and distant murmurs carried over trimmed lawns. Yet on this seemingly ordinary night, one house harbored an inescapable mystery. At the center of this unfolding story was a young man, the boy next door, whose presence was as subtle as a whisper in a silent room. His daily routine, punctuated by moments of fleeting smiles and polite nods, had woven a familiar tapestry with that neighborhood's narrative. However, beneath the surface of neighborly civility lay a secret so profound it slowly unraveled the very fabric of suburban comfort. The initial signs were scarcely noticeable. A sound here, a glimpse of movement there, and they stirred something deep within those who observed. In the early weeks of summer, residents began to take note of peculiarities that had always been hidden in plain sight. He appeared almost spectral in his routine. During the day, he moved through life with a forthright calm, almost blending into his surroundings. Yet, as dusk fell, when golden hues surrendered to a cooler twilight, unsettling noises began to echo from his home, soft thuds, low murmurs, and inexplicable creaks that defied the familiar sounds of a quiet residence. As if choreographed by an unseen hand, these sounds came with an irregular rhythm, inviting suspicion and a cautious curiosity that grew with every unfolding night. Detailed observations began with the old oak-lined street and the patterned concrete sidewalks. One could almost sense the pulse of the neighborhood synchronize with the casual melody of life, yet a subtle undertone of dread lingered nearby. A neighbor, known for noticing details that others unconsciously missed, began to record snippets of happenings, the shadows dancing across windows at ungodly hours, the unusual silence before a sudden, staccato noise that reverberated in the still night air. Each incident, though isolated, seemed to converge into a narrative that was both riveting and disconcerting. It was not a matter of rumor or idle gossip. The reality of what came next was anchored in undeniable sensory experiences. The soft rustling of leaves in the evening wind might have been the innocuous whisper of nature, but when paired with the irregular, almost deliberate footsteps inside the neighboring house, it formed a duet of suspense and uncertainty. One evening, a gentle knock against a window seemed to invite an unsuspecting witness into a world that lay hidden behind the facade of suburban innocence. The sound, neither aggressive nor benign, left an indelible trace of foreboding among those who heard it. In that moment, every creak of the floorboards and every distant echo down the hall became a portal to a mystery waiting to be unraveled. For many, the question was simple. Was he merely a reserved and quiet soul, content with living his private life, or was there an underlying drama playing out behind closed doors? The boy next door, with his unremarkable appearance and gentle manners, seemed to defy the archetype of a villain, yet his behavior was imbued with an enigmatic charm that made every observer question the very nature of truth and fiction. His faint smile and polite nod while passing by did little to dispel the aura of secrecy that clung to him like a second skin. In his interactions, there was an air of evasiveness, an almost intangible gap between the words spoken and the emotions conveyed, and over time that gap widened until the boundary between neighborly courtesy and cryptic enigma blurred irreparably. As days turned into sleepless nights punctuated by unsettling sounds, an investigative spirit began to bloom among those who lived next door. The narrative of the quiet, unassuming figure transformed into a layered mystery that demanded a closer look. One could almost see it unfolding, a slow dance of shadow and light, where each ordinary element of suburban life concealed a deeper, more complex reality. The thrill of everyday existence became intermingled with a creeping dread that one could no longer simply shake off like a stray thought. Late at night, when the majority of the neighborhood lay shrouded in deep sleep, faint sounds emanated from the house next door. These sounds, ranging from a soft scratching at the window to the occasional hushed conversation with no discernible voice, became the subject of hushed speculations and wide-eyed stares. Over time, these irregularities began to accumulate like scattered puzzle pieces, each one hinting at a secret too large to ignore. On one particularly crisp autumn evening, as the breeze carried whispers of the coming winter, the layers of mystery took a terrifying turn. An insistent clatter emanated from within the walls of the neighbor's home, a sound that reverberated through the quiet street and set hearts pounding with unspoken anxiety. It was during these moments that the true nature of their suburban haven was questioned, as the familiar sanctuary transformed into a stage for an ominous performance. The subtle interplay of sound and silence took on a menacing rhythm, compelling even the most rational minds to confront the possibility that all was not well. Soft voices, intertwined with the eerie silence, seemed to murmur secrets into the cool night air, as if the very house itself was trying to articulate a hidden story. With each resounding thud, the mystery deepened, leading the residents to wonder if the boy next door was harboring secrets far beyond the realm of simple solitude. In the midst of this slowly unraveling tapestry, individual moments became the building blocks of a larger narrative, a suspenseful interplay of observation, interpretation, and ultimately, the recognition of an unsettling truth. One could almost imagine this as a well-crafted novel unfolding in real time, where the ordinary is gradually revealed to harbor extraordinary dark undercurrents. The daily rhythm of life, the chirping of crickets, the rustle of leaves, and even the distant bark of a dog assumed a dual purpose. It was as though every sound was part of a carefully orchestrated symphony, with an underlying beat that hinted at something sinister, hidden just beneath the surface. Consider the experience of one resident who, driven by an unyielding need to understand, began to record the nightly sequences unfolding at the neighbor's house. The act of recording was not one of defamation or idle jest, but a cautious attempt to capture the ephemeral moments that no one dared to speak of openly. The video clips, recorded discreetly under the veil of twilight, revealed fleeting images, a silhouette passing a dimly lit window, a door creaking open just a fraction of a second, and the briefest glimpse of a hand reaching out. Each image was a fragment of a larger mosaic, a visual representation of the chilling enigma that had crept into their lives. The process of watching these recordings, again and again, became both a ritual and a warning, a reminder that the ordinary can hide the extraordinary, the benign can mask the dangerous, and that behind every familiar face might lie a secret too unsettling to imagine. As the nights grew colder, and the mysterious occurrences became more frequent, the neighborhood found itself caught in a whirlwind of theories and speculations. Conversations that once revolved around mundane topics, weather, weekend plans, the idiosyncrasies of suburban living, began to pivot toward the inexplicable. Every hushed whisper, every furtive glance shared between neighbors became part of a communal narrative that spoke of caution and a creeping dread. Some residents suggested that perhaps he was merely a recluse, a man who chose isolation. Others were convinced that the strange patterns of movement and sound pointed to something far darker, the possibility of a hidden life, one that might involve clandestine experiments, secret meetings, or even a past shrouded in unspeakable trauma. In this complex interplay of suspicion and sensory evidence, the boy next door became a symbol of the dual nature of existence. His polite greetings and respectful nods, delivered with the precision of someone who had mastered the art of blending into the background, were now juxtaposed against the increasingly bizarre and inexplicable nighttime activities. There was a palpable irony in the way his apparent shyness, a trait that at first seemed endearing, morphed into an enigmatic barrier concealing truths that were as intimidating as they were compelling. The narrative that unfolded was one of gradual revelation, a slow but inexorable march toward a truth that was both feared and fascinating, a truth that was hidden in a plain, unassuming facade, and that precipitated a living nightmare for those who dared to watch. As the suspense deepened, so too did the layers of personal reflection among those who witnessed it. The haunting tapestry of suburban life compelled even the most pragmatic minds to ponder the fragility of the world they had once taken for granted. In a land where every face was a known quantity and every door an inviting threshold, the emergence of an enigmatic stranger disrupted the collective sense of security. The boy next door was no longer just another resident. He was a harbinger of an unseen terror, a living metaphor for the secret warnings that life quietly hands out in the form of neglected details and overlooked anomalies. In time, the investigation into these nocturnal mysteries evolved into a deeper, more personal journey of self-discovery for many in the neighborhood. It became clear that the presence of this solitary figure, marked by his discreet yet peculiar habits, was a mirror reflecting the hidden vulnerabilities and unspoken fears that lay beneath the surface of suburban routine. The emotions were ambivalent, a blend of awe at the unknown, anxiety over the unconfirmed, and a disquieting fascination with a reality that defied logical explanation. There was a shared recognition that life, in its most intricate moments, often concealed its most profound truths behind an unremarkable veneer, and within this unassuming facade lay a dark narrative, one that unfolded slowly and deliberately in the quiet hours before dawn. As the narrative of the boy next door gradually became the focus of many late-night discussions and solitary contemplations, a defining moment arrived that crystallized the mystery into something tangible, a final, almost cinematic climax that demanded resolution. One chilly evening, when the moon hung low and heavy in the sky, several neighbors, emboldened by their collective unease, gathered to witness what would become a turning point in this real-life suspense thriller. From a safe distance, they watched as the soft glow from the window of the mysterious house revealed an intensity of movement rarely seen before. For a few agonizing minutes, time seemed to slow as the regular rhythm of nighttime was replaced by an erratic, heart-pounding cadence. In this moment, the realization dawned on everyone that there was no escaping the truth, hidden in plain sight. The subtle hints, a door left ajar, a sudden burst of hurried steps, the unmistakable sound of rustling fabric merged with the heightened senses of those observing to forge a shared epiphany. The boy next door, with his quiet exterior and calm demeanor, was not merely an isolated eccentric, but a sentinel for the unpredictable nature of life itself. His behavior, which had once been dismissed as polite reserve, now resonated with the intensity of a hidden drama. It was then that a profound question took root in every observer's mind. Is the man behind the quiet exterior a victim of circumstance, or is he the architect of a carefully constructed labyrinth of secrets that threaten to unravel the very order of suburban life? The answer, as it often does in the realm of deep mystery, remained tantalizingly out of reach. What was clear, however, was that this enigma had irrevocably altered the familiar landscape of everyday existence. The boy next door had become a living paradox, a reminder that danger and beauty often coexist in the simplest of forms, waiting to spring forth when least expected. In that realization lay a lesson for every resident, never to take the visible for granted, for the most profound realities can lurk behind an ordinary smile, behind a courteous nod, and behind the closed door of a seemingly quiet home. In the days that followed that fateful evening, the neighborhood carried on with its routines, yet the atmosphere had undeniably shifted. The once unquestioned normalcy now bore the unmistakable marks of tension and caution. Each creak in the dark, each gentle gust of wind that rattled the window pane, served as a reminder that secrets, no matter how well hidden, have a way of manifesting themselves. The story of the boy next door continued to evolve, a living chronicle of suspense that merged the mundane with the macabre in a tapestry of human vulnerability and the inexorable quest for truth. This narrative, woven from the threads of ordinary observations and extraordinary implications, stands as a testament to the unpredictability of life. It reminds us that the boundaries between friend and warning, between the known and the unknowable, are far more fluid than we might dare to admit. As you listen to the chorus of familiar sounds that now accompany your evenings, the distant hum of a car engine, the rhythmic chirping of nighttime insects, the soft murmur of everyday life, remember that within every familiar sound, every routine gesture, a mystery might be quietly unfolding just beyond the edge of perception. In the heart of this suspenseful tale lies a question that transcends the particulars of a single neighborhood. What hidden narratives reside in the places we call home? The boy next door, with his elusive charm and mysterious habits, serves as a living embodiment of that question. His mere presence is a caution that not all friendly faces herald benign intentions, and that beneath the surface of placid suburban life, turbulence may be quietly brewing. And so, with every late-night sound, every unexpected movement, the message is clear. There are warnings woven into the fabric of our daily existence, subtly embedded in the most unremarkable details. For those who find themselves drawn into this unfolding mystery, the story offers more than just an account of strange happenings. It invites you to explore the delicate interplay between observation and interpretation. As you stand in the quiet of your own home on a seemingly ordinary evening, let the echoes of this tale remind you to be vigilant, to trust your instincts, and to cherish the small moments of clarity that illuminate the shadowy passages of life. After all, every creak, every silent whisper in the darkness may be the prelude to a revelation that challenges the very assumptions we make about safety, about community, and about the nature of truth itself. And thus, as you take one final look at the unassuming facade of familiarity that surrounds you, pause for a moment, listen to the sounds, observe the subtle movements, and remember that even the most ordinary neighbor might be a portent of unexpected depths and undisclosed secrets. The boy next door, with all his quiet charm and hidden mysteries, remains a compelling reminder that life's most extraordinary stories are often found in the places we least expect, in the quiet corners where the light barely touches, and in the everyday moments that, when closely examined, reveal the extraordinary within the ordinary. In this ever-unfolding drama, the line between safety and peril is drawn not by the grand gestures or the obvious signs of danger, but by a series of subtle clues, the hushed footsteps in the night, the fleeting glimpse of a figure in a dimly lit window, the sound of dislocated time as measured by an irregular cadence of steps and murmurs. The quiet rhythm of suburbia has grown complex, layering everyday life with threads of apprehension and intrigue that are as delicate as they are unnerving. And even as the neighborhood moves forwards, each resident holds within them a secret awareness that beneath the surface of the mundane, life may silently be scripting a tale of suspense, danger, and the hidden cost of familiarity. So as you find comfort in the known and the predictable, never forget to cast a watchful eye on the overlooked, to listen carefully to the whispers of the night, and to be mindful of the subtle signs that herald a deeper, darker truth. For in the quiet murmur of your own home, as in the echo of the footsteps next door, there may lie a story waiting to be discovered, a story that transforms the ordinary into the extraordinary, and turns the familiar neighbor into a living, breathing enigma. In the end, the mystery of the boy next door is not just a tale of suspicion or fear. It is a mirror reflecting the complexities of human existence. It challenges us to examine our assumptions, to question the boundaries of normality, and to recognize that sometimes the most significant warnings come disguised in the most unassuming packages. And as the soft light of dawn dispels the shadows of night, leaving behind only the lingering memory of uncertainty, the lesson remains etched in the hearts and minds of all who witness the subtle dance of darkness and light, that even amidst routine and order, the potential for mystery, nay, for danger, silently persists, reminding us that every neighbor has a story, and every story carries the potential for transformation. Each time the wind blows against a window pane, or a soft whisper of movement stirs the quiet night, let it be a token of the mysterious narrative that still unfolds in the depths of suburban life, a narrative that reminds us that sometimes the most shocking truths are hidden behind a gentle smile, behind the door of the seemingly ordinary, and in the silent watch of the boy next door.